Parlour for a courtroom has won a legal case against a national building firm. Georgina Blackwell was spurred into action after her mother's business was threatened by legal action.
Georgina and her mother Sandra are with us now. All right, we'll get to the detail in a moment, but that moment when you walked into the High Court, all these people in wigs and gowns, judge sitting there, I mean, how nervous were you?
I was terrified, absolutely terrified. Like sitting outside the courtroom, I felt really sick and I was thinking, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. But when we got in there, they were quite arrogant and they were like, oh, this is going to be over and done with, we'll be in and out. And I thought, no, actually, we'll show you. And I think some adrenaline kind of kicked in and I was all right once I was in there.
So, Sandra, I know you're extremely proud of Georgina, and so you should be, but can you just tell us a little bit about what the battle was about and how Georgina found the crucial bit of information?
Right. We had a transfer which we believed was only for the maintenance and repair of the factory walls, which were very close to our beauty salon. And a solicitor who we did instruct and two-party wall surveyors didn't pick up the fact that the transfer only related to one wall, which was the north wall, not the east wall.
So basically...
And Georgina found that out,
there was an argument over one wall which made all the difference as to whether any of this work would be carried out. So you're sitting there one night poring over the papers, and then what happened?
I've been reading through it and I'm thinking, they've only got rights of access over one wall and they think they got complete access. And I read through the barrister's opinion and I read through the rights of transfer and I kept on reading it and I think I'm going mad, but like we've realised, and for no one else to have picked it up, I think it's
And you had no legal training, but you were thinking at one stage of going into the law. Have you now convinced yourself that that's what you'd like to do?
It was amazing winning in the High Court, and yeah, it has made me really want to do it. But I think it's such a competitive industry that it is really hard to get in, and I think you can do your degree and not even get into the bar. So
the judge said to you what after it was over? This is what I love.
It was one of the judges, Mr. Justice Sweeney, said to me, I think you should apply to the bar, and I kind of laughed, and he said, well, I think you should. It was obviously a lovely compliment.
Yeah.
And Sandra, as we said, very, very proud of your daughter, I think.
Absolutely, sort of bursting with pride, sort of, I mean, she saved my business. From me going bankrupt, they actually did say that they would force the sale of my property and close me down. So
they're not going to now, are they?
They're not, are they?
Well done to both
wins
of you.
a day, well done.
Yes.
Lovely to meet you both. Thank you very much.
Now, most good gardeners are full of handy tips, everything from how to grow perfect roses to how to maintain the perfect lawn.
Today, the team from the National Trust at Wimpole Hall near Cambridge came up with a real gem, an easy way to make perfect compost. It involves wee. The details now from Mike Liggins.
Let's be honest, bodily functions are a sensitive subject on a tea time news programme. Clearly, there are certain things you can't show, things you wouldn't want to show. Then there's the problem of how to describe the call of nature.
My mother often talks about spending a penny, which is fine, of course. Some people refer to having a Jimmy Riddle, which is okay. But of course there are other phrases which are far less acceptable at 6:30.
So here in the best possible taste is the story of pea bales at Wimpole Hall and what happens when the gardeners need to relieve themselves.
Since you gotta go, oh, you better go now. Go now, go now, go now.
When the men need to go, they go on a bale of straw, and just to be clear, we weren't really, we were just pretending to pee.
If you introduce ammonia to the compost heap, it really accelerates the whole process and you get a better quality of compost, and that's the whole reason for it, really.
They're also saving water at the hall too, but of course all this isn't exactly new.
My granddad used to do it on his compost heap. He did it directly then, but I would imagine that this method is actually far better.
The one downside to this story is that someone has to shift the straw, and today that was the junior gardener. Frankly, I think they were taking the but I suppose someone had to get their own back eventually. Mike Liggins, BBC Look East at Wimpole Hall.
I think it's better if we say nothing at all, isn't
Oh, dear, yes.
it? He's a ham actor, though, isn't he? The weather.
Thank you, Stuart. In terms of the weather today, a fair amount of rain around. Our weather pictures taken in Cambridge reflecting just how wet it was. Some big puddles around after the overnight rain and more rain coming through today. But it's not the rain we're concerned about as much as the strengthening winds. We've got an advanced warning of some really strong winds tomorrow morning, potentially gusting up to around 60, 65 miles an hour. I'll come to the details of that in a moment. The rain today, though, showing nicely on our radar. It's been moving up from the south, one or two quite heavy bursts developing, another area developing behind me. And they're all tied in with an area of low pressure which is coming in from the southwest. This early warm front will be getting away as we go through this evening. Another cold front coming in from the west later on. But the real interest is in these isobars tightening up as the night goes on, a freshening breeze as we go through the night. As for the general weather, though, well, it's a case really of further showery outbreaks of rain as we go through tonight. Perhaps not so much in the east, but there will be further outbreaks of rain coming along, one or two of those on the heavy side, perhaps. The majority of the rain tending to push through as we go through the period up until the dawn period, so there will be some clearer, drier spells later on. And despite clearing skies, it's still going to stay quite mild. We've got the winds blowing in from the south overnight, so overnight lows of 9 or 10 degrees, not too different from what we've got at the moment. The winds for inland areas picking up to be a moderate or fresh breeze, a strong breeze along the coast, but really it's tomorrow morning that we're looking at some very strong winds coming along. It's as this second front starts to push through from the west, the isobars tighten up and we see a real squally cluster of showers coming through, but potentially some very breezy conditions as well. This is the way the general weather will develop. Further showers coming along in the morning, some of those on the heavy side. If you can, I think it may be worth holding on till the afternoon because the showers will tend to fade away as we go through the afternoon. Some longer, clear spells coming along. And certainly we're looking at the strongest of the winds in the morning. These are the average speeds we're looking at, around 35, 40 miles an hour. But in the morning itself, gusts up to 65 miles an hour. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see one or two trees down tomorrow morning. Those winds should ease down as we go through into the afternoon. Top temperatures around 12 or 13 degrees, but with the strength of the wind, it is going to feel chilly. Things look a little bit better as we go through the rest of the weekend. One or two showers around on Sunday. The wind's a lot lighter, though, and I think we will see something in the way of sunshine. I'm afraid another spell of rain on Monday, and again some quite keen winds. Tuesday's looking the best that I can offer at the moment, fine and dry. And in terms of the temperatures through the night, it's staying nice and mild. No frost worries, at least. Overnight lows of 6 as we go through Monday night into Tuesday. There's your weather.
Thank you very much indeed. That's it for tonight. Have a good weekend. Whatever you're doing, stay dry. Good night.
Goodbye.